Hello, hello, hello. We are live. I see some familiar faces in there, and we were just giving this a second. We can probably go live now. What is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we're here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. I am your host, Stevie V, alongside my partner in crime. Couldn't do this without him, Kodi. Maurice, Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I had a wonderful day. I'm ready to share this love with you, darling, on this lovely podcast.
Yes, absolutely. We did have a lovely day here in this cold, blistery winter that we are in. We still managed to have a good time, and thank goodness it is Hump Day Wednesday, and we are so excited to welcome our special guest a little bit later in the show, Amir Yass. He's been on the show several times before, and he's co-hosting with you next week.
Next week, right? I'm excited. It's going to
We'll
be
talk
fun.
more about that later, but he's going to be sharing some fun, sexual, salacious stories, and we're going to pull him into some hot topics. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before we do that, we've got to get into the show. And this is episode 642. And I always love it when you guys write back into us and tell you what this show means to you. And I couldn't help but shout out to Chris from Dallas, Texas. Shout out to Chris in Dallas,
Hi,
Texas.
Chris.
Says, hey, Steve, just wanted to say hi and say how much I love your show. I am new to the gay scene and really have opened up to my love of sex and sexual attraction to guys. I'm really giving up my pretense to liking having sex with only girls, or liking my pretending to only liking to have sex with girls. Thanks for making me feel so good about sexuality and needing to be openly sexual with other guys that I am very attracted to. Anyways, just keep doing what you guys are doing. And Chris, thank you so much. And
Thanks, Chris.
partly doing this show after 8 years, this is one of the reasons. Last week, my boyfriend and I ran into somebody that listens to the show and told us how much the show means to him. And it really does mean a lot when you guys reach out and tell us that, because it keeps us going and going. Little programming note. Right now, I just uploaded a brand new video of, if you become a Patreon member, our Tags Patreon member, and that's where you get extra special sexy perks. And when you contribute and you grab a tier, you're supporting this show. We really appreciate it, and we see you. And right now I have a brand new stretching part 2. It's my staying fit and fabulous, how to look and feel fabulous at your age. And at 54, I'm sharing my tips and tricks. And in this video series, it's a lot of fun, Kodi, actually, doing this.
Love it.
Yeah, I did part 1, the stretching series, and I did part 2 that I just uploaded yesterday. And it was so much fun doing it and showing what gets my body at this stage in life. I do it either when I wake up, I can do it in the gym, I can do it after I get off of a plane, and it really gets my body elongated. And it's so important as we get older or age to elongate that. I'm telling you. Or
Oh, you are
or if
preaching
you
to the
want
choir
to,
over
or if
here.
you want to do things in the sack, it will help you out. And you can grab a tier and get that video, or now you can actually just grab individual posts that we put up there on their own. So if you don't want to grab that tier, you can just grab that tier. And when you do that, you are supporting TAGSPodcast, the show you've known to come and love. And how to do that? Go to patreon.com/TAGSPodcast. We really appreciate it. A little bit later, I mentioned we've got Amir Yass coming on to the show. Super excited about that. But we've got some hot topics to get into. And one of the hot topics that is all of us, it was on the news, it was on gay media. It's about World Pride 2025 in Washington, D.C., which is so interesting. We'll get into that into a second. But the lineup of World Pride. I mean, the last time, Kodi, World Pride came to New York City, Vanessa Williams was here. I mean, it was huge. It was amazing. This World Pride has Jennifer Lopez like she's the headliner, and I can't believe it. That's so huge. But they've also got people like Troye Sivan, who's been killing it, and I love a gay performer that is that big, Grammy nominated, is also one of the headliners. RuPaul, Mama Ru, is also headlining, and Mama Ru puts out a new album every single time there's a new drag race, and that's one of my favorite things about RuPaul. Did you know that every single time, and I download every single one, and whether or not you like every single song, there is at least 4 or 5 songs that you're going to be. I put it into my overall RuPaul extravaganza mix, and
oh
yeah,
we got an extravaganza mix. I need to hear this.
Extravaganza, darling. And who else is performing? Kim Petras. Come on, tonight.
Tinashe.
Tinashe, thank you on that. There are so many Imani. If you really go through the whole list, there's a lot of artists that you may or may not know. Imani is one of my favorite artists that I adore. But people like Paris Hilton will be performing as well. What did you think when they announced this lineup? And do you want to go to DC for World Pride now that you know this lineup?
Hello. I need to go to DC for World Pride now, seeing this lineup. I did see a little bit of pushback as far as Jennifer Lopez being the grand headliner on there.
Why?
Well, they were saying that there should be a gay artist or LGBTQ plus artist that is the main headliner because it is World Pride.
I just listed Troye Sivan and Mama Ru, and also trans artist Kim Petras. Just because Jennifer Lopez she just happens to be one of the biggest stars of our lifetime. That doesn't take away from Troye, Mama Ru, and Kim Petras. I don't understand that. Who would you have liked to seen in their argument if you were to take their argument? Who would you want to see?
Because I'm not necessarily on that team. I'm still kind of in between. I'm riding the fence on this one because I admire J-Lo. I absolutely adore her. She's my Puerto Rican sister, and we got to stand up for mi gente always. So she's a gay icon at the end of the day. So I agree that she is a very she is a notable person to have in this position. However, I do see what they're saying, and I can see the point there. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I agree 100%. Because, like you said, they have other artists that are there. If I were to put somebody in that top position, it would probably be Lil Nas X, because he is the #1 LGBTQ plus pop star in this moment, in my mind. So it would probably be him. Who else? Oh, Janelle Monáe. She would be a wonderful headliner.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you and I hear the arguments. I just think we're in such a realm right now where we announce something. I think in general, the excitement is there for Jennifer Lopez. I told you yesterday, not an unofficial meeting that we had where we were talking about this. And I saw Jennifer Lopez with our co-host, Jeremy Ross Lopez, several years ago in her Vegas residency. And we really went for Jeremy, who's a huge fan of Jennifer Lopez. I've always liked her, but probably maybe not the show that I was dying to see. I have to tell you, she was amazing. She is the performer that kills it, gives 150%. She's been around. She's put in her dues. I feel like Jennifer Lopez has put in so much dues and time that she's always fighting for acceptance from everybody. She's always fighting to prove that she can sing. She's always fighting to prove she can act. And yet she can do all those things. And the thing is, I'm sick and tired of it. She's proven. I don't know why Jennifer Lopez has had to prove, other than any other artist, that she's an official icon and artist. Whether you like her or not, she is. And I think that, she is a draw. You mentioned Janelle Monáe. I saw Janelle Monáe before at a really unique festival here in New York, and I thought she was good, but it wasn't that much of a draw. I think Jennifer Lopez, whether you like her or not, she is the draw. Lil Nas X, you mentioned, We talk a lot about him on the show. I don't think he could pull in the actual people that Jennifer Lopez can. And so I do think this is huge. Neither one of those two artists would hold the Super Bowl the way she did. And I just think that give her dues, whether you like her or not. And even if you don't like her, all the other artists that they announced, stop focusing on her, which people love to hate on her, and focus on Troye Sivan and Kim Petras and Mama Ru and Imani, and we could go on and on. It's just like stop with the hatred towards Jennifer Lopez. That's my PSA today. It's not.
I love it.
As Jeremy Ross Lopez, our co-host, would say, it's not that serious. If you don't like her,
there it is.
Don't worry about it. Like, you don't have to go see her, but stop hating on her. She's never done anything bad to our community. She's only been love and acceptance. So
exactly.
And you better, as a Puerto Rican, accept her.
Oh, I'm standing up for my girl. The only request I have for her is that she pre-records her vocals and that she twirls and give the girls what she wants.
But I saw her live and she was amazing. Like, we were like front row, and she did like a cappella, and it was.
Was the mic on though?
Yes, it really was. I hate that whole argument when people like get all technical like that. Yes, it was. She can sing. It might not be your like favorite vocals, but she sounded good. I mean, it is. I like her. And by the way, and then we got to move on because we can't do this forever.
Oh yeah.
I often don't like vocals from truly technical artists. I don't like their music. I actually like Jennifer Lopez's music. There is a thing that is about a pop artist. The reason we like pop artists is because it's a magical thing that comes together. I've said this before, that is undescribable. It's an alignment of music, style, voice that all comes together. Christina Aguilera has like a lot of that. I don't like all her music, and there's a reason why she's not always there. I'm not listening to Christina Aguilera. I have more Jennifer Lopez in my phone than I do of Christina Aguilera. That's all I'm going to say. A pop star, you can't make up. It is a magical thing. And it's Madonna. It's fierce. And you can't break it, whether you like it or not.
Madonna be putting down the vocals. And Christina, you can't compare. That voice.
She does, but I don't like, I have like 2 songs by her in my phone because she doesn't seem to know how to write new music or align with the right people. And it's like,
agree with that.
So am I going to just put these bad songs by her in my phone and go to the gym and be like, she can sing, but I don't want to hear her. No, ma'am. And the sooner you realize that we like who we like, the sooner we will be happy. Just let it go. Yeah,
I hear you.
Let's move on. Let's move on to something that's kind of fun too, because Gus Kenworthy, who is an Olympian, right? He is. What sport did he play? Because he was a skier, right? Olympic skier.
He was something in the cold.
Yeah. Somehow along the lines, he's made his way into the gay ethosphere, and we are living for him.
Freestyle skier. Yes.
Thank you. And he is part of our Zeitgeist these days. He launched a book club, which I was all for, and he launched it in a very sexy way, sitting there naked with the book in front of him. Well, guess what? The book was a coffee table book, so it covered almost everything. But he is launching a coffee table book club, and he's done it in a really sexy way. He's partnered up with a organization, All Stora, an online bookstore that was co-founded by RuPaul, Eric Servini, and Adam Powell. And they are actually putting books that are for our community into the Zeitgeist, into the ethosphere. That's really important. He's a huge lover of coffee table books, and you're going to get books like the first one, which is did you see the first one that was launched? It is, what is it?
Isn't it with the Andy Warhol one?
Andy Warhol, yeah. Andy Warhol, Polaroids, 1958 to 1987. And before we did the segment, I actually was, if I had more time, and you know the day I had, Kodi, but I would have pulled, I'm a huge coffee table book fan. I would have actually pulled down many of my coffee table books because I love them too. Coffee table books are not cheap, Kodi.
No, they are not.
Like when you want to buy one or you
And they're
want to
worth
buy
every
one for
penny.
somebody else, and they are a staple piece. I'm looking at my Tom of Finland one across the way here, and I think it's like $100 and some odd for that book, and it's like a brick. And these coffee tables aren't cheap by any means. Are you here for what he's doing, and do you
Oh
like
yeah.
this? If he makes us pay for these books, though, I mean, are they going to break the bank? I understand there's a whole thing to it, but what do you think about this new book? Are you going to join?
I love this. If he is undressed in every picture, then yeah, I will join. But I think it's a great idea. RuPaul is involved, and I feel like is he has a lot of coffee table books, and he even goes on to say he loves to read, but he loves to look at pictures more. So I'm here for this. He's exposing the community and the everyone to art and just trying to spread the good word. So everybody should be reading books. Someone said very famously, if they don't have books in their home, do not fuck them. And I completely agree with that.
And I got to tell you, they're a conversation starter too, because if you let's just say they can be quite expensive at times, but let's just say you're on a minimalist budget. If you have a few coffee table books layered around and they really are a conversation starter, you can educate people about Frida Kahlo. I mentioned Tom of Finland. I've got Oscar Niemeyer, who is a huge Brazilian architect. I'm looking up there.
Ooh.
I've just got so many of them. The Sex Book by Madonna. They are a conversation starter. And if you just put them on your coffee table, it will get the party started. And a few
Yeah, and
cocktails, you're good to go.
oh yeah, and they are so empowering and they actually spark creativity. So I love coffee table books. I have several by David LaChapelle and other artists that are photographers, and even some, I think there's an Andy Warhol in there too,
Oh,
and a Frida
yeah.
Kahlo. I love him. I love all of those. So more power to him.
Let's bring in our
Preach to
guest and see if
children.
he's if he likes this book club and if he would join it too. And if you can invite him to the stage,
Got him
it's
on the
our
stage.
good old friend Amir
Hi.
Yass. Hi, welcome.
Hello. How are you guys? What's up?
We
All
are
right, how are
good. We're
you,
trying to,
boo?
yeah. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good, and I agree with both of you. Yeah, never fuck anyone who doesn't have books.
John
I
Even
have
if
a
Walker.
they're a
lot of
I
books.
coffee
remember.
table book, right? Yeah.
At least one book, even if it's a cookbook. You gotta have at least one book.
I'm always a
What
little
if
bit.
it's one of those elementary school books like Dick and Jane Go for a Walk?
Hey, it's a book.
Hey.
Hey, maybe he has a child. It's okay. We forgive.
A lot of these newer gays that are all into style are often you go into their place and it feels like a hotel sometimes.
Yes.
And either we talk about it a lot on this show, and either it's sloppy and we don't want to be there and we want to get the hell out, or it's too sterile. And if you come into my place, I've got some design going on. Maybe Kodi, you'll disagree, but
No, you do.
I've got a lot of not too many chotskis in here, but I do have a lot of like books, and I'm just looking at it. I'm like, oh gosh, do I have too much going on? But I do think you want to tell a story when
Yes.
you have a date come over. How do you weigh in on that, Amir?
Well, listen, I always say if you're self-aware enough to say, okay, maybe I have too many tchotchkes or I'm overdoing it, I think you're on the right track.
Okay, good. Yeah.
But I was at my friend's place in LA and it's like a condo, and like I was looking across to his neighbor and I thought it was a mirror because his place looked exactly like the condo across the street. So I think the gays are all just kind of, it's the same, therapy chair with the fluffy couch, with the the standing mirror. So I think it's fine if you have
too much
like
HGTV, HGay and
HGTV. Exactly.
Yeah.
You need a little warm. You need to warm it up a bit. I think make it personal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Show
I like
people
that.
your style with your
Yes.
with your decor, and have some fun things in there.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
We have brought you on and we're so excited to talk about some salacious, sexy stories, but we thought we'd start with a couple of hot topics
Yeah, let's
to
hear
get you
it.
in, warm you up a little bit.
We're
And
gonna
before
lube
we
you
get
up,
into
boo.
those stories, one of them had to do with West Hollywood. I know you're a little bit south of West Hollywood, correct?
I am.
But
I'm
yeah,
in Orange County.
Orange County, got it. And your Real Housewives of Orange County. We're talking about Beverly Hills here. No, we're talking about West Hollywood. And I used to work out at this gym, the Crunch Weho Fitness, and Kodi and I talked about a story where the steam room, they had closed it down for a little bit because there was too much sexual activity going on, and they put up a banner that said we're going to close it down for a minute, but now they've closed it down for good. It's pissed off a lot of people because a lot of the members that maybe were just using it for relaxing, yeah, quote unquote, are pissed off now. But I think it's kind of embarrassing to me in this day and age that I have so many feelings about this. It's West Hollywood, people. It's going to happen there. Maybe they should have just never put it up in the first place. How do you weigh in on this? And would you be pissed off if you were a member of this gym and all of a sudden they shut it down?
Wait, can I just say something really quick? Amir made a face like he was involved in the scandal. Like he was there when
he drove from
down.
Orange County on his off days to.
So
Kodi,
I can't wait to hear this.
Kodi,
Sorry,
I thought
bro.
we were friends. I thought we were friends. Now you're clocking me. You're calling me out.
And you can have one of those Crunch memberships where you belong to all of them, like I do. So
there it is.
It's
She
fair
gets
enough. He could have
around.
been Riverside Crunch and drove down there on a Wednesday and
Not Riverside. What shade?
Oh,
Riverside, girl. I would never. Listen. For the defendant to speak on his own behalf, I don't need a lawyer. Have I been in the Crunch steam room? I will plead the fifth. But I've also never been a member. So, but I also lived in LA for 10 years. So piece together whatever story you would like to. You can DM me and ask me. I will answer you. But you can piece together that, do I look like someone that would be caught in a steam room? Maybe, maybe not.
I love it. That's very diplomatic. Are you a lawyer by trade?
You are right on the fence, girl.
Diplomatic lawyer. Not. Yeah, I love it. Kodi, how do you weigh in on this? Because you and I did talk about this, and we warned that it could be shut down, but actually now they're shutting it down. And if you're a member, you would get this notice now that you can no longer go. And it's almost like shame on you.
Yeah.
And whether or not you did do this or not, it's like, I hate the stigma.
Oh, definitely. I've been in steam rooms before, and this is just too far. I can't imagine why they would think, of all places, West Hollywood, they would not be hooking up in the steam room. I think you could drop a dime and you can find two gays hooking up somewhere in West Hollywood. So I feel like this is just too much, and they need to just dial it back just a little bit, and maybe have hours of where it is most busy. You don't have the steam open. Maybe something like that. There's always a good compromise.
I like that, Kodi. I like that. But doesn't it feel a little bit, I mean, I could be wrong, but it feels a little bit like it has a little tinge of homophobia. I'm like, why close that one? Then you should close all of them. I'm not saying that, like,
let's put it,
couples are going to go in there, but
let's address that exact comment, because the manager put in social media that he is gay. And I don't know why he felt like he had to say that, but he did. And I don't know if that makes it any better that he said, I'm gay and I'm still, I don't know. I feel like they should have never put that in West Hollywood in the beginning, because in the 90s when I worked out there, it was that whole thing going on then too. So it's like, what do you think? It is what it is. And
straight people have sex at the gym too. Like, let's be honest. I know someone whose their wife was sleeping with a bunch of trainers, and the trainer had an apartment above the gym, and these are all straight people. They were hooking up at the gym in between sets. He was sleeping with people's wives. So I just don't want it to seem like, oh, the gays are oversexed,
Thank you. Right.
They can't control themselves. Because, like, yes, are we, like, kind of can be crazy, but we also have self-control. I know people, and me personally, have used a steam room and it has not been sexual. So
yeah.
I don't like that
Maybe
narrative.
once.
I don't like the narrative.
I don't like that narrative
Once or
either, but
twice.
also mind
Once
your
or twice.
business. Also mind your
Yeah.
business too. Like, they can be doing what they want. Can't you just go over to this corner and just like do your thing and chill
Enjoy the
out?
free show.
I don't know. Yeah, enjoy the free show.
Let
It's
people do what they want. And I've seen someone leave. Like, I saw this straight guy get up and leave a steam room in Arizona because people were kind of canoodling, and he just got up, got his towel, and left. Like, you can remove yourself from a situation that makes you uncomfortable. You're an adult. You don't need management to step in. I believe some Karen complained, and then they did this. So that's
Or
oh yeah, right.
What do you
Karen.
think if someone said to you while you were in the steam room, say, if they said, cut that out, I don't want to see that in here. They got on Valerie Cherish.
Valerie Cherish.
Would you stop?
I would stop. Yeah,
I would stop. I would be
stop.
respectful.
I would stop. Yeah, I would be like, or I would be, I mean, depends. Are we talking about me today where I'm very developed, or in my 20s? I would say, mind your business, get out. But now I think I'm a lot more mature. I'm almost 40. I would be like, I respect I respect that.
All right. Well, staying on that lane, let's see how you feel about this, because there's a famous London cruising area that has been since George Michael. Think of, what was the song, Kodi, that he wrote the whole Outside? That's been targeted. Yeah, it's been targeted with posters telling gay men to get a room. And it's a number of posters appeared around a famous London cruising spot telling gay men to use a hookup app like Grindr. Basically, it's, what is the area called, Kodi? Because it's been around since the 19th century.
Is it in Hyde Park?
Oh,
is it in Hyde Park?
I have it here. Something Heath.
Yes,
Heath in the name.
And
Hampstead Heath.
Thank you so much. And a lot of people, it's been cruising been going on for so many years. Essentially, people say that it only happens in after hours, and technically it's not illegal to have not get caught having sex, but you can, flirt with people around that area. It's been going on since the 19th century. We talked about George Michael. It's not that big of a deal, but people are claiming that it's newer people that have been moving into the area that have put up those posters. But those posters are illegal according to UK law, and they've been removed recently. I say I go to Brooklyn, and there is...
You've been to Brooklyn?
Yeah, I've been to Brooklyn. I had my passport stamped, and I was accepted in there, and it was all good. But Prospect Park has, I'm just going to say, there's areas in there today during certain months that in the mountainous areas in the park have some cruising going on. Oh, yeah. It's removed from it. I don't know this particular area, but I say we all know new developments always have conservative people that want to have the baby strollers in and, not around the kids. We're not trying to do things around the kids, by the way. No. What do you say to that, Amir? And is it just a lot of hoopla over nothing, or is there something to be shouting about here?
Well, you always have to remember the UK, right? Colonial father of racism, birthed America, right? So the homophobia comes from somewhere. So you have to remember that when, the UK has come a long way, and unfortunately it has surpassed the US and being a little bit more aware of like trans rights and human rights and gay rights and all that. So they've done a better job than us. But I just feel like this idea, this clutching of your pearls and having a lot of like distaste around it, don't take your children out at 8 or 9 p.m. I mean, yeah, are the gays sometimes cruising during the day? Sure. But the chances of you seeing that are slim to none. I just think that there's a lot of outrage over nothing. I've been to cruising areas in Hawaii. I've done it in, Fire Island. Again, Fire Island's a little different, but like, it's very, like, no one's doing it in front of children. And this idea that's a bad narrative, because you're feeding off of the 1950s and 1960s, where they would show videos of gay men stealing children and, being pedophiles. There's a lot of those videos that they would show in school. So let's not go back to that.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, because you said it kind of in the last segment too. Let's not continue to feed this narrative that we are over-sexualized and over-sexualizing our children, which is what the current administration wants us to believe. What do you say, Kodi, about this area and what Amir is saying?
Yeah, I agree with everything that Amir said. I think that the last thing I want to see when I'm hooking up or cruising is a child. So if that happens, if there's a child present, I'm definitely pulling up my pants and getting the hell up out of there.
Yes,
So I don't think
yes,
they have anything to worry about if they bring their children around. I think that
sure.
everybody will disseminate in an orderly manner, and I
Ooh.
think that they just should mind their business. If they don't see it, then it's out of sight, out of mind. It's not happening, man.
Absolutely. And Kodi, we should not be saying disseminate around a cruising spot. That's a wrong word. Wrong
Oh,
word,
We
right
should say
sentiment.
inseminate. Inseminate.
Oh God.
I'm trying to get
I want you
inseminated in the cruising
right
spot.
trying to exactly that's what we're trying to do. So let's not say disseminate. Um I
You're
wanted to
right.
say something really quickly about this because I've had this conversation with my friends who are married and have children. Most straight couples, their kids have walked in on them. And there's this idea that like, and that's totally normal. Oh, oops, whatever. And then a lot of conservatives say like, oh, gay men are like parading their love in front of their children. They're going to make them gay, whatever. Every gay couple I know has tried so hard, like almost gone out of their way to prevent their children ever walking in on them. So it's almost like we actually have to try twice as hard to
Yeah.
prevent that. But in their world, that trauma is like, oh yeah, mommy and daddy were wrestling. But why is it traumatic when it's us? Right? Like
Yeah.
that kind of
good
annoys me.
points, Amir,
Can
because
I
I'll
tell
never
you?
forget. I can't get it out of my mind. I was actually in college coming home and kind of walked in what I saw a little bit what was going on, and it was traumatic to even to this day. And my dad has passed
Scary.
away for years, and it's still
Oh.
a little bit traumatic in my
And you're
head.
thinking about it and you're
And
like, ah.
yes, and then I think about what you're also saying is we've gone out of our way. How many gay men on this particular program have we talked about that have had silent orgasms? We've jerked off in our rooms for years and years and years and learned to have sex in our apartments so that we didn't disturb the next apartment next door. And we learned to have silent orgasms. It's like, no, we were meant to have wild loud orgasms, and it's like, come on. I mean, yeah, come on. I mean, Will Tantra, one of our favorite friends of the show, always says that, and it's like, you're right. Like, it's about time. Somebody else said that too on the new Kodi. What's the show on Netflix that does the revamped version of the Fab Five?
Oh, Queer Eye.
Queer
Yeah,
Eye?
and the African American, the one that we love,
Mamo.
was
Karamo.
talking about, I am tired of being invisible. And he just said this on The View the other day. And it's about time that we start apologizing for who we are. And it's about time that people see us. We see heterosexuals all the time. It's about time you guys take interest in our lives too. We matter. And that really, I've never been a big fan of his, but that really resonated with me the way he
I
said
love
it.
that.
And I was like, okay, Guamo, come on. I am here for that. Absolutely.
I like
Yeah,
that. I
I
like that.
totally agree with you. And I feel
Yeah.
like as gay people, we have been shamed into not being as openly loving to kids because I feel like we've been scapegoated a lot as far as that is concerned. So, me personally, I hold back a lot. I adore children. I don't really like dogs, but I adore kids. I love to play with them. I love
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah.
So, I feel like I have a child's heart inside as well. So,
For
I feel
sure
like
you
for
do.
me, oh, thank you.
No, for
And
sure.
that's
I
why I
saw
look
that
so
in you
young.
in the beginning. Like, because I feel like children trust, like, when someone has a good heart and when they have, like, a jovial energy. And then obviously that translates to looking young. Because when you have that energy radiating out,
Oh,
like,
thank
kids can
you.
see that. They can see that in you. I believe that.
Well, I love dogs, not dogs, but dogs. I just want to have that ingrained into this record for today that we are recording. But I also want to remind
But
everybody that we
wait,
are
hold on.
live, Kodi. Hold on. I want to remind
Okay.
everybody that we are live, and James Hart made his way to Puerto Vallarta. Hi, James. If you have
Hi,
any
James.
need any tips and tricks, enjoy Puerto Vallarta. Well, I would really love to be there right now because I'm freezing my ass off. But we also want to shout out to James watching us live as well, who says, I walked in on my grandparents when I was a kid. Oh, no. I don't know what's worse, grandparents or parents. Probably probably
Yeah.
parents. I don't
No,
know. That's like
grandparents.
what's worse?
Definitely grandparents.
I think
Yeah.
grandparents.
But one
Yeah.
of them brought you into
Not the
this
Golden
life.
Girls.
I feel like the grandparents you'd be like, Well, yay for grandpa and grandma, but your
No,
parents is a
not
whole
yet.
nother thing. I'm
I think
more
parents might be worse. I agree with you now. I'm starting to think about it. I'm like, maybe parents is worse.
worse. Yeah. Two
I
against one,
think
Cody.
grandparents
Sorry.
are worse. I don't know if they know where the things go anymore. And that's a joke. That's a joke. I'm sure they know where the
No,
things go.
Well,
that's a
we
good
love.
joke. I mean, I didn't know this, but women have a lot of holes. I was like, I am not up with the biology.
They
Someone
have
really
two
filled me in
in
the other
one
day.
hole.
That's a different show. But Amir, we brought you onto the show because you are a repeat special guest. You've talked about being Muslim, you've talked about growing up gay, and we love you so much. You will be co-hosting this show with our one and only Kodi Maurice Doggette next week. And I love that you're going to be doing that. I will be off that week, but you guys are going to have a great week. But we wanted to talk to you about some of, because we didn't really get a chance to in the last couple of times, about some of your sexcapades and what makes you tick and talk, if you will. And I guess if we could start off, we warmed you up here. Let's talk about a friends with benefits story. Are you into friends with benefits, or what's your feelings on that? And if you do you have a story on that?
Okay, just like disclaimer, I've done a lot of therapy, so I'm very self-aware that I tend to be a bit of a jealous person, but I want to be free, right? So I want to be able
Oh,
to flirt, I want to be free, and then I kind of get a little jealous. So the friends with benefits thing has not historically worked for me because I tend to then like I want to go on other dates and I want to flirt with everyone, but I sometimes tend to be a bit possessive on the person. But I'm working on it. I've been better. I had a situation last year that worked. I think it helped because he was in San Diego. And I think that like distance like is good. If I'm not I don't want
So
to
you're
run
in
into
Riverside, but he's in San Diego. Or I should
I'm in
stop at the
Orange County.
Riverside.
Oh honey, Riverside, you gotta stop
bitch.
putting Riverside with my name, girl. We are gonna
That's
have
all
a
I know.
Hey, he's coming for you. I don't know.
problem.
I don't know why he's trying to put you in
I'm
Riverside.
kidding.
I don't even
I'm
know
off
what it
next
means.
week, so
Nothing wrong with Riverside. I love everyone in Riverside. It's
we
just
love our
I don't live
Riverside
there.
community.
We love our Riverside. They have actually a great bar there, a great gay bar. So anyway,
Ah,
no shade against Riverside, but not living there. But yeah, I think that distance helped. I'm very much open to it. I feel like because I'm Gemini, I get bored easily, and I think that friends with benefits tends to work because there is not as much commitment, right? There's not as much. I don't feel trapped. So that's what I love
well,
about it.
let's get a little bit deeper here. One of
Yes.
my favorite songs
Oh.
by Lisa Stansfield, but I was just listening to it a minute ago. But let's get a little
She's
bit
right.
deeper. Are you in a relationship? Do you want a relationship first and foremost?
Oh wow, this is like becoming the view, honey. Okay. Am I in a
This is
relationship?
your therapy
No,
session.
absolutely. Yeah,
I
this
had
is
a
good.
I
I
had a
need this.
day here. You.
I love it. Thank you, Stephen. No, I haven't had therapy this week. This is good. And I'm definitely not in a relationship. Am I open to it? I don't know because I think that I have such a strong personality and I can definitely be very intimidating. I went to an event on Saturday and like people were messaging me after and saying they wanted to approach me and say hello. I'm like, I don't, I'm always smiling and I'm always laughing, but I think because I take up a lot of space in a room, it makes people
Mm.
feel intimidated, like to like connect with me. But I don't know. I feel like I'm very friendly. So sometimes I don't know what the disconnect is there. So no, I'm very open
Oh,
in so many
oh,
ways.
open. I
I
Yes.
was gonna say
love
open is a good
that.
thing,
And you
darling.
know what?
Well,
And Kodi has a questions, but I just want to say, don't apologize for being. You're not taking up space. You are you, and I
Thank
think
you.
you're going to find the person that is like my partner isn't as doesn't do a show like this and isn't as loud as I am. He is a big personality in a different way, and that's how we kind of. But never apologize for being. You're not taking too much space. It's
Thank you.
yeah, it's like a puzzle, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you're beautiful, and that's why we love you on this show. But Kodi, go
Thank
ahead.
we love
you.
you.
I love you
Yeah.
guys. Thank you. Thank you.
So we were talking about friends with benefits early.
Yes.
Uh, how do you find your friends with benefits? Do you go on the apps? Do you meet them in bars? Tell us a little bit about your process, darling.
Oh, not the process. The roster. How do I assemble the roster? I think it's like a combination of dating apps and then game nights. I think game nights are like a gay, like hidden
I need a game
treasure.
night.
they're good, you know, and I know a lot of people have like their aversions to it, and I'm not into the dodgeball thing. I'm sure like if I did gay dodgeball that I could meet a lot of people, but I'm not doing activities.
Oh no, not
So this is
dodgeball.
better.
I've done
No, I can't do the
dodgeball.
dodgeball.
Cody
Not
wants to
playing my
play
new
flag
nose, though.
football, and I'm like, we're not doing that. We're not doing dodgeball. Like maybe tennis.
I could do tennis. I could do tennis. I actually did a gay tennis league. Nobody was cute though. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I think yeah, game nights are really good, and then like people sometimes set me up, and then I think that I also have no shame in DMing people, and many a times I've DM'd straight people, and then realized halfway through they have a wife, and I'm like, oh no. So I have no shame when it comes to that, because if I find someone to be attractive, even if they're Matt Bomer, like I'm gonna send a DM. I mean, sometimes they respond, sometimes they don't. I don't know.
Shoot
like I have no
your shot.
shame. I shoot my shot. Yeah, yeah.
I love that. Got it. Okay, so right now, because we were going to talk about stories about like sexuality, I guess my question to you is, what are you looking for right now? And Cody asked it how you're kind of looking for. Are you more going into? Do you like meeting people in person, or you mentioned DMing? What's your method to this madness?
Oh, there's yeah, it's a lot of madness. I think that I used to be a lot more comfortable approaching people, and I can approach some like for someone else. Like if one of y'all was like, "Oh, I can talk to anyone." But when it comes to for me, I'm always like, I'll see someone, I'm like, okay, they're kind of cute, and then I'll go on Grinder and then try to find them. And I know that's like kind of a cop out, but I just sometimes feel it's
You
hard
do it
for
all
me
the
to
time.
approach people. Right? It's like a good tactic. So
It's how we
I
do.
there was
Yeah.
it works. And there was something in New York where you could, I remember like I did this one time where you submit, like I saw this guy on the train and he was cute. What is that like misconnections? What was that?
Misconnections on
I've
Craigslist.
definitely
Yes.
done that. I've definitely done that. So I fall in love with people very quickly. Like I saw this guy like 2 weeks ago at a hotel, and like he totally smiled at me, but then I just didn't approach him. And then I think about it for days later. I'm like, I should have just said hello. Like,
Yeah.
why didn't I do that? You know? So
why didn't you do it, and why aren't you gonna? Why are you continuing not to say hello to guys?
I mean, especially when they're alone, there's no excuse. Because when they're in a group, it feels like a posse, and I just hate that gay posse where you walk up and then it's like you get all this shade. So I try not to approach people when it's like more than two or three, because I'm like, oh, and now it's a gay gang, and I'm like not interested in that. Like,
but what about when they're alone, darling?
Well, I mean, listen,
I
am living in regret. I'm living in regret. I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna work on it.
Okay, I feel like this is turning into therapy for Amir, but in a little bit different direction than we were planning on. But I'm kind of here for it. But one of the things we've talked about on this show with a lot of advice that we give is that when somebody is, so for years and years and years, I've said on the show I was a bottom, and that's
making me hot.
I know, yeah. Undress, please. People always put me into the bottom category, but then as I've gotten more mature, I have learned, especially like with my new relationship, that somehow now I'm a top, and I enjoy that, and it works with our relationship. And we have, you know, reversed it, flipped it and reversed it. Okay, Missy Elliott. But I mean, are you keen on only one position? And what do you think about that theory that, you know, there's only so many bottoms in the world and there's so many tops, and are you stuck in a role? You don't have to tell us what that role is. Just can you comment on that?
No, that's a fabulous question. And I actually just had this experience because I was a top for so many years, and like I wanted to kind of push against that stigma of like everyone wanted me to bottom. Every relationship, they're like, oh, well, you haven't been with me. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna flip you, bitch. Like, and you're gonna like it. Like, and I think that is like, and I really felt like I needed to push against that for the last 10 years. But now I've really like settled into kind of a soft top, almost like
soft top, I like
kind of side. Like I'm just like, why can't we just like see where it goes? I just feel like it's
so clinical, that's what I'm saying.
It kind of bums me out. Like I'm like, can we there was a guy recently where we totally had such great chemistry, and then he was like, oh, you're a top. Like, and then the whole conversation fell apart, and I'm like, that's so like, you're so short-sighted, because maybe I'm not saying I would like to, but I might, like, I felt we had such good chemistry that I might have like I might have bottomed for him, but the way that he handled it was just put a bad taste in my mouth.
I think we've unlocked something that I want to, on this show, explore a little bit more. That for so long, we've got into this conundrum that there are tops and there are bottoms. And the minute we find one, like, we shut off the other one. And actually, if we did more workshops, and like for so long, I thought I was only in the bottom category. It's not that hard to try the other one. And when you do try that, it's like peanut butter, or I don't know what. If you try it, you like it. And chances are you can incorporate it into your. We need to think of things more of a repertoire, like your bag of tricks. And if you only have one tiny little bag here and someone's got a Louis Vuitton over here that's a little bit bigger, don't you want that bag that can hold a little bit more, that looks a little bit more fabulous on the shoulder, and that you can parade around when you're on the apps or out and about? That's the bag that I want to hold when
with
I'm
all the
walking
tricks
about.
in it.
And
that part,
you just opened up a spectrum of more opportunities. And isn't that what we are trying to do? And I think we've got, and Kodi, we've got to work on this workshop here, because teaching bottoms.
We call it a bag of trips. Bag of tricks.
Bag of tricks. The bag of trips workshop.
Teaching bottoms to kids.
Yeah. And I just think it would be so much more interesting. And let's read something from one of our live listeners coming in from Caledad. And we love that you always watch us. Thank you so much. He says, I'm coming in late after my walk, but I like James. I walked in on my grandparents as a kid after elementary school. I was shocked and embarrassed. But as an older man, I know, a mature man, I'd like to say, I know and appreciate the fact that they kept getting it in. Yeah. I agree.
Exactly.
There was a little bit nuance when I thought my parents were still getting it on too, although creeped out. But George, watching us live, says, I like the idea of meeting in person. Mutual consent makes things better. Totally agree with that. I've always been not one for the apps. But Kodi, what do you say to what we're talking about here?
Yeah, if we can just take it back just a second, I have a confession to make. So recently, but not recently, but in the past, I have been a strict top. And speaking with other strict tops on the apps, especially ones that are bigger and more burly than me, I've been a bit taken aback or even afraid of going after them for fear that they will expect me to bottom. So I totally get what you guys are saying about not stepping outside of your comfort zone and actually reaching into that bag of chips, because I've bottomed before and I might be actually kind of good at it. So
that part, stay for the cheap seats in the back, Kodi.
Hello. I might be okay. So I definitely get what you're saying. Maybe I should expand my horizons as far as sex is concerned. But I think that at the end of the day, you can't really rule one thing out, because it's all about chemistry, like you guys are saying.
And you're so right, Kodi, because one of the things that you do learn when, obviously, and you know this, Kodi, I mean, I know you are on the apps too, but when you meet somebody in person, there's a energy that before you even know their top or bottom, that you get that you don't get on the apps. You look at an app and they say top or bottom, and I don't want the other one, and you block somebody before you even had a chance to say hello. And so if we were able to do that workshop where we could open people's minds up and get that chemistry back into it, and the holes, and taught people that you can also mix it up and top sometimes, and you can bottom other times. We wouldn't put ourselves in these boxes anymore that limit us. What do you say?
Well, I talk about this a lot because I think a lot of it's come down to penetration, and like the best sex I've had recently there's been no penetration, and that's been someone that I've been with many times, and I really enjoyed it because there was something about it that there was no, and not that you always have to prepare. Like I'm not one of those tops that like you need to douche and be prepared, but there's no preparation. It's like you're in the moment. You don't have to worry about, like, you can just go, and it's a lot more. There's a lot more heavy petting. There's so many things you can be watched, you can fraught together, you can goon out. Like, there's so many cool things you could do. And I feel like gay men have just gotten stuck in top and bottom, which is fine. But it's funny because I thought the whole point of being gay was to kind of design your life and be less heteronormative. But now it feels like top and bottom has become heteronormative.
Man and woman.
Almost.
Husband and wife. Yeah,
Exactly.
I feel you.
So
I feel
it's
you.
kind of a
And can
bummer.
I tell you, can I add on that some of the best sex that I've had is not necessarily penetrative. It's about the connection at the end of the day. I
Mhm.
I could have
Mhm.
sex with somebody and bang them the fuck out. Okay. I was
Don't
like,
get
how do
it
I say this
twisted.
nicely? How do I say this nicely? No, I
Yeah.
fuck the shit out of them. Okay.
Okay.
Same.
It's still not as
Same.
good
Yeah.
as sex that I've had with somebody that I actually connect with, and maybe we didn't
Mhm.
have penetrative sex, but the connection was there, and it just makes it that much more intense.
Once
Absolutely.
again, we're live, and Caladad says, in my experience, many strict tops will bottom for a nice endowment. Okay,
Not me.
yeah.
Not me. I run away from
Nice
it
and
because I know
small.
what my bottoms go through. I know what they go through. So I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
We want to remind Amir will be with us live next week here on Tags Live, but you've got a podcast that we want you to promote. Talk about that real quick. How can people find it?
Absolutely. So the Vault podcast page is our Instagram and TikTok, and it's the Vault with Monica and Amir, and it's on all platforms. So we're very excited, and you guys still have to come on. So
Yes.
we're gonna find a time. We're gonna find a time that's gonna work.
Yeah, because you talk a lot about Bravo celebrities,
Yes.
correct? And I am, of course, watching the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills right now. And I don't know if you talk about Summer House at all.
We do.
Okay,
We talk
I'm
about Summer House. Absolutely.
kind of like obsessed with that and the dramas that are going on with, like, I mean,
It's really good.
really
What about
crazy
Married
right
to Medicine?
now.
You talk
I
about
like Married to Medicine. People underestimate it. I think it's like, I don't know if you're caught up, Kodi, but they have that fight on the sandbar. I'm like, it's like juicy, and it's 10 years. Like, you know, and it's the only show that's produced by a Black woman. So
That's
on
right.
Bravo. So
Yeah.
the creator is and the executive producer before. I mean, they took the show from her. So they still colonized it, but she still gets credit. So
I love it. Okay, we don't want to keep you too long, but this has been amazing.
Yeah.
And we love you, Amir. You'll be on the show here next week, co-hosting with Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. And to follow Amir, follow you at, once again.
Oh, yes, the Vault podcast page. And then my personal Instagram is Amir Yass Official. For anyone that liked what they saw, DM me. I will respond.
We love you so much. You're so
love you
like
guys.
in tune and on point, and we love you. All
I
right,
love you guys.
Love you.
I'll be back.
Bye.
See you soon. Okay.
Lovely.
Yeah, so much fun. You're so awesome. I love it. You guys are gonna have so much fun next week.
You might not be able to air some of the things we say.
I know we just kind of went on a roll, right? That's the beauty of it. That he is the beauty of that. Okay, well, we love giving advice on this show, and we are no strangers to solicited or unsolicited advice. Did you have one in particular that you wanted to give advice to because there was so much out there, Kodi?
I did not see one. Oh, interested in only one in the couple. Let's talk.
Do you mind
about
reading that, and then we'll discuss?
All right. So this Redditor says, I'm traveling and got to be hanging out with these two great partner guys back in the day, but I'm more into one of them and have great chemistry with that guy. The other, however, is very into me and I'm not feeling it as much. I don't want to initiate a threesome where I'm clearly showing one guy more attention. Is there an etiquette here? Do I just approach the other guy only? That feels wrong and awkward. What do I do?
Well, for starters, I'm with a partner too, and we have approached people before, but if we don't get that same okay at the same time, and it's difficult because I get that the third party isn't always going to be interested equally with both. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit more towards one or the other, but sometimes you find that sweet spot that, I'm giving a little bit, I'm giving like 70, my partner's giving like 85 to the partner, and somehow all that works out. It's that sweet spot. Sometimes it's not, according to this one. And if you find that, run to the hills, honey. Because you do not want to get in jealousy conundrum and a Real Housewives moment of drama mama. I just say no. Walk away. Do not go for that partner on your own either, because it's a mess waiting to happen. What do you say?
So the messy part of me, the messy and selfish part of me is like either go after that person on their own
As I
or
look
have sex
over to
with
my
both.
partner over there sitting on the corner.
Or have sex with both of them and then just kind of focus your attention to the one that you're more attracted to and not necessarily leave the other one out. This is me being messy right now, and I totally acknowledge that. But at the end of the day, it's not my relationship, it's their relationship.
Well, to your point, I mean, there was one time where I had a couple and I went home with them, and clearly I was into one more than the other.
Mm.
The partner that I wasn't into as much decided to walk the dog and
Oh,
leave me
wow.
with his partner who I was totally into. So I
Mistake.
felt like all bets are off. He left me alone
Yeah.
with his partner, the one that I was into. So we did actually have fun, but I felt like either it was an okay or a go ahead or whatever. And we did. If you get that okay, then fine. But I also have been in situations where you're into one, or I've been with somebody and they're into my partner more. I cut it off immediately,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I just feel like I can already tell this isn't, and this was a mistake because I now read the room and I'm not
Mhm.
rude to the person. I just can see what's going on here and I end it because I'm self aware. So I'm self
Yeah.
aware if I get allegiance to play around with the guy, and I'm self aware if they're only into my partner and not me. And then I'm like, nope. But I cut it off. I
Yeah, no, I hear
cut it
you.
off.
So
So you wouldn't
my
even get
more
a chance, Cody. I would cut it off before you had a chance.
Oh yeah, are you cutting me off?
What I wouldn't do is walk my dog and leave my partner doing what I would. What I would not do is that.
Yes, no, I get you. So the more responsible thing, the more
You gotta
responsible I know, right? I thumbs it up for myself. I'm like, um, so the more responsible answer that I'm going to give is completely be upfront. If you're into one partner than the other, and it really kind of actually just depends on your level of attractiveness to the other partner. Because if you are like 60 or 70%, you can include him and not make him feel like an outsider in his own relationship, then I say go that route. But if you're only attracted to one and you're not really, you're at like a 20 or 10% with the other partner, be upfront. Tell them that you were only into one partner. And if they play separately, then game on. But if not, then politely exit. That is my responsible answer. The
Yeah,
messy answer.
I just think in the reality, let's just be real honest on this show here. The reality is that third person is, I just going to put it out there and call me crazy, is never going to be 100% into each
Oh, yeah.
partner. They're just not. They're going to have 80% into one and 20, or maybe 50-40, but they can come around to the other person because maybe the other one said something in their ear that was, it's just never going to be
Or they have a 12-inch
100% again.
dick.
And you, as the duo that is luring that third person in, needs to be aware of that.
Yeah.
But you, as the duo, also have first rite of passage to say, listen, maybe they should be honest and say, like I did, this isn't working for me anymore, and you have to go home.
Everybody needs to be honest.
And
Yes.
go home. Like, you got to go home. Like, get out.
Get out.
Yeah. Like, we got to get out of the show right now because we're about to explode it. 1 minute. Oh my God. So much fun as always. And I couldn't do this with my partner in crime, Kodi Maurice Doggette. You can always follow him on Instagram at Mr. Maurice, at Mr. Maurice. But follow him on Blue Sky, our new favorite platform, at Mr. Maurice. Follow me on the gram. I am _Stevie, or go to my Blue Sky or X at TAGSPodcast, where you get a preview of my Just for Fans or Only Fans. And next week I am in Vakaya Land, and I'm going to be actually putting some interesting, scintillating content while I am in my room alone. My partner says I can do that.
Hey.
Yes. Can I get an okay and an amen? Can I get an amen? I got an amen. And in the meantime, continue having hot,
What?
gay
Gay sex.
Monday.